처음부터 다시 한번 해볼게요. 찍어가지고 출력. 짠.
Welcome to the AV-42C. First, let's keep the bird from rolling away by using the bird. Now let's move on to the startup sequence. First, turn on the main battery. This will store power for all the electronic equipment on the aircraft. Now start the auxiliary power unit. Wait a moment to allow the APU to spool up. We're now ready to start up the engines. Keep an eye on the engine gauges and wait for the RPM to settle. The engines are now supplying electrical power, so we can turn off the APU. Now we can turn on the heads-up display. The HUD, or heads-up display, shows you attitude, altitude, velocity, targeting reticles, and other important flight data at a glance. Now turn on the multifunction displays, or MFDs. The MFDs give you access to aircraft features such as weapon configuration, navigation maps, sensors, and etc. You can access these features by pressing the corresponding buttons around the edge of the monitor. You'll learn more about the features of the MFDs in a later tutorial. The vehicle is now ready to fly. In the next tutorial, we'll talk about basic flight controls, taxiing, takeoff, and landing.
뭘 바로 끝난 거야? 아니 시동 켜는 거 괜히 했네. 기본비 출격.
Welcome to the basic flight tutorial. We'll skip the startup procedure now and pick up where we left off in the last one. The main flight controls are the joystick and throttle. You can grip them by holding the grip buttons, or toggle lock your hands to them by tapping the grip buttons. Let's start with taxiing. Grab onto the main flight controls now.
이게 뭐가 뭔지를 뭐야 이게. 윙맨 진짜 어렵네. 조이스틱을 잡으세요. 스로틀을
To steer the front wheel, you will have to twist the joystick on the vertical axis.
조이스틱을 수직으로
In order to get moving, we need to tilt the engines to the forward position.
어떻게 되길래 이거 어디야?
Start by holding the throttle trigger to lock the wheel brakes. Then, press and hold up on the throttle thumb control to tilt the engines forward. The indicator here shows the status of the engine tilt. Now if you release the brakes and slightly lift the throttle lever, you will start to roll. Apply small amounts of throttle or brakes to control your speed. Don't go too fast. Try taxiing over to the marked waypoints.
아 브레이크 저절로 가. 가자. 이거 어떻게 된 거야? 두 번째 보니까 좀 더 운전이 자연스럽네. 너무 어지럽다. 네, 너무 어지러워요. 근데
Okay, stop here. Throttle down and hold the throttle brake trigger.
브레이크 트리거.
Let's prepare for a conventional takeoff. Set the flaps to position 1.
플랩이 많아.
Make sure all flight assists are enabled. They should be already. Double check that the engines are tilted all the way forward. The indicator should read 0. Now grab the throttle again and hold the brakes.
브레이크는 뭐야? 지금 브레이크가 뭐야? 매뉴얼 디스펜서.
While holding the brakes with your left hand, you can disable the brake lock with your right hand. Okay, now taxi onto runway 20.
빨리 가.
Now to take off, raise the throttle to full and steer to keep aligned with the runway. Keep speeding up, straight down the runway.
달리십시오. 달려야 되나?
Now carefully rotate the joystick back to pull the nose up. Great, you're in the air. Now you can raise the landing gear and set flaps to 0.
Landing gear.
Now gently steer your nose up to about 20 degrees and keep climbing.
20.
Let's practice with the basic flight controls. Rotate the joystick left or right to roll towards your target. Rotate the joystick forward or back to pitch your nose towards it. This icon on the heads-up display shows your velocity vector, which is the direction you're actually moving. Fly over to the target waypoint. Try to keep your movement smooth and avoid pulling too hard, as this can cause a stall.
Over T. Over T.
Great. Fly over to the next
Over
waypoint.
T. Over 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 T.
어디로 가는 거야?
Great flying. Now let's try landing at the airbase.
공항역이다.
Start your landing at the next waypoint. Bring your speed down as you approach it. This will be a conventional landing on the runway.
Over T.
여기가 어딘가. 이렇게 좀 비틀면 기운
Over T. Over T. Over T. Over T. Over T.
딱 착륙까지만 한번 해보고. 오케이.
Over T. Over T.
지금 굉장히 멀리 나는데. 오, 저거 장난 아니다. 이거. 근데
Altitude. 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 Landing gear. Landing gear.
다시.
Landing gear.
실패.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
화면으로 보는 거랑 진짜 하는 거랑 다르네. 진짜 이거 약간 바이킹 타는 기분이.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Over T. Over T. Over T. Landing gear. Landing gear.
Line up with the runway and continue to bring your speed down. You can use the trigger on the throttle to control the air brakes. Free your left hand to bring your flaps and landing gear down. Then continue to bring your speed down.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
이거 정렬을 하는 게 너무 힘드네. 씨, 너무 안 돼.
Gently bring your nose down now.
뭐야, 어디야?
Keep steering down the runway. Congratulations! This concludes the basic flight tutorial. Next time, we'll make use of the tilting engines and practice vertical takeoffs and landings.
저기까지 가야 되는 거 아니야?
Over G.
다 없어.
Over G.
등락고까지 한번 가보고 올라가. 네가
Over G.
뭐야? 왜 안 가? 가. 잔디밭 치러 가.
Over G.
노노노. 네. 브레이크. 오케이. 감사. 어지러워. 짠. 아, 잘했다 이거. 아, 그만.